Ready?
Okay. We'll call to order the Edinburgh Board of Metropolitan Police Commissioners on this Thursday, April 9th, 2026. The time is 5:20. At this time, I'll ask you to join me in the saying of the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda is roll call. Ryan Piercefield is not here. Emily Cravens
Here.
and Curtis Rooks is here. Also with us is Brian Alsip, our board attorney, as well as a newcomer, Miss Summer Crank, who is running our YouTube channel. So thank you for that. So next is the minutes of the Metropolis Police Commissioners meeting on January 27, 2026. Everybody, we should have got a copy in our minute or our packet. If there's no changes or questions, I'll entertain a motion. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good enough.
Emily, great job again, as always, with the minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the bylaws discussion. Again, everybody should have got in the packet the bylaws. Also, I know that you'll see some red markings where I believe the town council had made some, don't want to say recommendation, but some changes they thought would be in there.
No, I think recommendations is fair.
Yeah.
For some language.
Yeah, so, Brian, I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you. If there's anything that you need to bring up, I couldn't really see anything, but
No.
this is all new to us, so.
Okay, Curtis, no problem. Yeah, I think as far as we are with the rules and procedures for this board, it has now been, the proposed bylaws have been looked at now by the town attorney, and they've been looked at by the town council with some corrections. I think the corrected version should be posted for public comment, and we need to address this in our May meeting after the subject to public hearing coming up in May. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll schedule that for our May meeting then, and then we'll take care of, staff will take care of getting everything properly handled. Chief Little is here. You'll post a copy of them at the police station, sir.
Do I need to make a motion that we?
I actually have a couple questions.
I'm sorry.
If that's okay.
Sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
On rule and procedure number 2, when it talks about the physical agility test.
Yep. What page is that?
It is.
Page and letter, if you could.
It's letter B, and I believe it's page 3.
Yes, okay.
So on letter B, where it says the applicant shall submit to the board written authorization from the physician of the applicant's choice attesting to the applicant's ability.
Right.
So at our March 3rd, 2025 police pension board meeting, it was recommended to go through public safety medical to do physical and mental evaluation. So I was just curious if that's the same thing or if that's completely different.
It is not. So the public safety is part of the group retirement. So agencies nowadays have had basically a full permanent liability physical, where you go to your doctor saying that you are physically capable of doing this before you will administer to the patient. So it's a whole separate document and a whole separate.
Okay, so this is just for people that are just applying for the police department.
Yeah, they would not be subject at all to pension. They're not an officer.
Okay.
And this would be their choice of who we get the
Correct.
form.
Designed by a physician saying that they are capable of withstanding that
And then on page 7, under the solicitation at the very top,
Yep.
it says at the end of that paragraph, the board shall determine the procedure for considering the allegation of such solicitation. When do we decide procedures like that? Like just as it happens, or?
I believe so, yeah, and the reason for that is, I don't know that that is one that's gonna come up very often, and if we just address it as it comes, I think that's fine to do that.
Okay.
If you want it codified in some way, shape, or form, we can certainly put language in there.
I was just curious. I want to make sure I understand all this completely.
Sure.
So I'm sorry, I still have more questions. If
No,
that's
go.
okay. On page 10, under B2, for the rating frequency,
Uh-huh.
for all police officers to receive a performance rating once every 6 months.
Mhm.
So I believe this board our first meeting was like November. So when does that officially start? Just after we start, so 6 months from when we adopt these?
Right.
Okay. And then I guess this next question on page 11 is for Chief. For the types of examinations when it comes to promoting your officers, do we already do the written competitive examination and the oral competitive?
So for the promotionary piece, we've never done any type of testing, so that's the testing that we watch from us with. And we will set out with the board if we're going to use, like an outside company or keep it in-house, references in-house. We would come up with, basically, what I did for the hiring process for new hires is went to the sheriff's departments, local city police, to get their ideals on questions to be for that. They can fill out, but obviously there's going to be a board that will be for that promotion process, again, which we have not had before, so that's something that we're going to have to come up with. We can do the outside company for both new hires and for promotionary. It's just going to be rather expensive, and I think our frequency for having it needs to be quite a bit because of time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is my last question. On page 14 for C, it discussed the participation in meetings through electronic communication. We kind of discussed this at the last meeting, and there was some
Okay.
clarification that was wanted. So I was just kind of checking in on that because it was kind of discussing that Indiana code, and we were talking about the ordinance the council adopted in 2021, I believe.
That allowed for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know there was some wanting to make sure for types of disciplinary hearings or anything like that, that actually all board members were present. So would that just be on a case-by-case thing?
Well, I think we can certainly amend that to state that for a business meeting, so to speak, electronic communication or electronic participation would be allowed. But if it's a disciplinary issue, that all members need to be in person. I think we can certainly add that.
Okay. That's my last question.
Okay, very good.
You did some homework.
I did homework.
I love it. Okay, so we will reserve the balance of discussion then on the bylaws to the May 12th or May meeting, whatever date that is, and allow them for public comment. And Emily, the items that you've discussed, make note of so we can discuss them again as a full board and decide if we want to place different type of language.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else on the bylaws then?
So are we going to be able to post these for the public?
Yes, I think Chief said that he's going to post at the police department.
Okay.
And Rhonda said she'll make sure that it gets taken care of in the newspaper.
Do we post this draft that Chief Huddleston, or not Chief Huddleston, I'm sorry, Attorney Huddleston gave us that has the marks through it? I think there's only one or two things really.
We can take those marks out.
Okay.
And then just have it as a copy. I can fix that and get it. Rhonda, when do you need to post that? When will you need to get them posted so we have?
10 days prior.
days prior.
Okay,
So I'll need it,
Our next meeting's May 14th.
so it would have to be advertised by May the 4th. And then the paper, you can only advertise on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Okay, I'll make the changes. I get rid of the red lines and just make it as though they're just, have already been kind of adopted into the form. And then it'll be a clean copy to go out. And then I think you also got to talk about the SOPs. I think we're going to try to maybe address those at the
Yeah.
next meeting as well.
So is there any action I need to take on this?
No action. I think as far as the agenda goes, that we've met the discussion of that requirement, and we've already set this now for a vote next month. And all notices will be handled by the town.
Could I ask some questions about the SOPs?
Yeah,
So on all of them, it says the effective date is February 11th, but they're not actually in effect or anything, are they?
So those changes that were made and made effective February 11th, there were some suggestions to send to legal counsel to go over those. And legal counsel made some, from the town board, made some changes. We're not looking for a few changes. So once this board approves, then we will change that date to the effective that date.
Okay.
yes, anytime something gets amended or changed, the new effective date is the date that it's approved.
Okay.
But May 12th will take care of this.
Is May 14th?
May 14th.
May
May
14th.
14th.
Okay, yeah, because today's no, sometime in April. Today's the ninth, okay.
I do have one question.
You have a question? Go ahead. Yeah, Officer Court, go ahead.
SOPs go, are those, when we come to those next month, are those able to be talked about?
Yeah, those will be open for public discussion as well. Yes.
Are they open to discussion now, or do we wait till we have our full board?
I think we would want to wait until we're going to ratify them or adopt them. Or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know that we need to ask any questions about them now, unless, I mean, it might be helpful for us. If you had a question, go ahead.
I do. Based off of the town ordinance 2024-7, which was our privilege from the council to be able to have the mileage, personal use mileage out of the cars. Just some curious questions here. So this new operating procedure that quote unquote took effect February 11th. Let's see, policy 2. I don't know if you guys have those in front of you.
Yeah, point us to where you're looking at.
Which policy?
Edinburgh Police Department vehicle assignment.
Okay.
It's going to be on the first page under Roman numeral 2. It's going to be that second part of the paragraph. So as 2024-7 states, chief and deputy chief who are on call have unlimited use of their car.
Okay.
Based off of this paragraph here, all employees assigned to Edinburgh Police Department vehicle marked or unmarked will be subject to 24-hour call and are required to respond to all matters dispatched to their attention via radio traffic or cellular phone communication. So based off of the 2024-7 amendment that's already been passed by the council, and then as with this, I mean, in theory, that's stating that all police officers should have unlimited use.
So is your point?
So my question is, and I don't know if we're able to bring this back up or not with what took place against me in December or not. With my disciplinary hearing, it's talked about that I didn't enter my mileage like I was quote unquote asked to do, even though I did enter my mileage. But according to 2024-7 and this policy here in front of us, I'm not really sure why all Edinburgh police officers have to enter mileage based off of 2024-7, where it says that one, chief and deputy chief are on call. This paragraph stating that all police officers are on call 24/7. So I'm just kind of curious as to how that works.
Okay, I don't know that I have an answer for you.
Nope. These are just some issues that I know not only myself, but I know other officers have also brought up.
Okay.
There's also been some other issues, um, as far as, these two other standard operating procedures. One of them is listed as internet posting, social media standards, and representation of the Edinburgh Police Department. And then the other one is the code of conduct.
Before I move on, Chief, for the vehicle assignment, the part that Officer Coy's talking about, was that part added on? Okay,
So, policy for us is mark our mileage. Even the
Right.
chief and the deputy chief mark our mileage. So, even we have our own busy, we still do that.
Chief, is there a town ordinance on this though? I'm not aware of a town ordinance.
There was yes, there was an order passed by the council as far as personal use. It was further restricted for us to be able to figure out how many miles everybody had by notating it.
So if there's an ordinance, is the way that the SOP is,
Further restricted.
it's further so the SOP is restrictive, more restrictive than the town ordinance. Why?
Because the ordinance did not say anything about how to keep track of that mileage. We have to mark that mileage on duty and off duty, and then it has to be done the day of, instead of marking on duty and then marking off duty, personal use 2 days later.
Okay.
So it was to be more accountable for knowing how many miles, and make sure nobody's going to the miles that were allowed by the
Okay.
So I guess my question is not so much the fact that we literally had a entire page highlighted in yellow based off of, that situation that took place back in October and December of last year. I have my own concerns with that and ideas for that as well. I just don't know if this is the place to do that. But I'm just kind of curious as to the wording in 2024-7 ordinance stating that deputy chief and chief have unlimited use because they're on call 24. Based off of this paragraph here, all employees, marked or unmarked, are considered on call 24.
Okay. Well,
Now, the entering of mileage, okay. I, again, have my own feelings on that and ideas on that, but just based off of the two paragraphs, they're kind of contradictory to each other.
okay. That's a good point that you've made there. And I think when we are at public discussion, perhaps then we can address that further and make sure that if we're going to ratify this, that we make sure that the language that gets ratified is not contradictory.
Right. And I understand that, unfortunately, we always have to have some kind of a gray area there. We can't limit, 100% one direction or the other. The mileage, I mean, if we enter it as we're marking off duty and we remark it as we're coming back on duty, it's still being marked. So I'm not sure the issue of that one. I have one more. Code of conduct. It's going to be the second page under intoxication and illicit drug use. Again, so if we're technically on call 24 hours, are we not allowed to obviously consume, adult beverages while we're off duty? And we're expected to come on duty. I mean, obviously, I think we would be smart enough to say, hey, probably not the best time for me to come in.
I mean, my initial reaction to your question on that is very simply, if you are on your personal time and you have consumed alcohol and there's some sort of an emergency that requires everyone to show up or something, you need to mark yourself out.
Right.
Or, chief or deputy chief or whoever's in charge at that point in time, I've been drinking, I can't be brought on. And I mean, you can't be punished for that because
Yeah.
you're on your own time.
Well, one would hope not, but,
Sure.
things have changed differently. So,
I think that, I don't know that that's, I appreciate your question. I don't know that'd be an issue.
it was more just the word.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I know Emily does a great job going through things, so I'm sure she'll make note of that. And when we come around, we'll make sure that that's something that gets addressed.
yes, I actually had a question about that because exactly what Officer Coy's talked about on item E for the intoxicant and illicit drug use. It says that it's recommended that incapacitation due to consumption of alcohol or narcotics be avoided. I know it's not specifically saying like, no, you can't do this at all, but it's still kind of.
For sure, and there's no reason to limit an officer's personal time to not being able to drink alcohol. I mean, that's a legal substance.
I think what this was created for and the wording was for those that were, that would be taking on call,
Yeah.
say, for instance, the chief of deputy chief had training and I have a lieutenant or a sergeant to take call, then they would be expected, not obviously, but they, because they're going to be responding to emergency calls.
Oh, I think that's very clear. I mean, if you are expected to be on call, you better not be drinking. But if you're,
On your own time,
You know,
on your own time.
it's your own time, but if there's some sort of drastic emergency that would require, and I don't know how you guys operate, but if you need to call everybody in, well, you can't expect somebody that, something
It's no
unforeseen.
different than we call it and ask officers if they're down to work.
Yeah.
And if they say, well, I've got something to drink, then we exclude them and go to the next
Yeah.
person. So
That would be, I think that's pretty straightforward in my opinion, but yeah.
Was this something that was amended, Chief? Or was this already there?
that I don't recall. I think it was probably amended. You'll have to know.
Okay, just curious.
I'll support. Thank you. Does that satisfy you for today?
Well, like I said, just open for discussion.
It will be, and we'll take care of it next meeting, when we get ready to ratify all these.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything else that needs to come up this evening?
I do have a question on this
Yep.
same issue. I guess if you look at number 2 policy where he was reading that, but then you flip over to page 2 and you go to number 8, it clearly states the resolution that the town passed
Right?
and everything, and then that it refers to nothing about a 24-hour police officer.
Yeah, well, if there's a town ordinance on this, I think that first and foremost, there needs to be no conflict between the two, the town ordinance and whatever the SOP is. If the SOP is going to be more restrictive, I think that may be able to be allowed, but perhaps the town council should take a look at this just to make sure, the same way that we had them look at our bylaws, they need to take a look at these SOPs to make sure that there's no conflict
Gotcha.
that they want to avoid.
Gotcha.
Chief, do you agree with that?
Yes, I believe this further restricts it, doesn't have, but there just gives a specific violation. Who has unlimited mileage, who has unlimited mileage, and it gives the counties in which they can operate, and then out of that, who the county that can operate. And that's basically kind of summing up in a nutshell the facts. All this does is further restrict the reporting, and as far as the being on call, because as law enforcement officers in the car, they're expected to respond if something happens in time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the purpose of the intent of capture something that you're on board.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes.
So the bylaw is going to be a public hearing, advertised in the newspaper.
Yes.
What about the SOP? Is it a public hearing or is it just a discussion?
I feel like when we're going to have SOPs, I don't know that it necessarily needs to be open to the public completely. Having public comment, especially officers, I think is very helpful. So certainly needs to be advertised to them, but I don't know that there's an issue if we publish the SOPs for the general public as well. I mean, we're trying to keep everything open and transparent all the way across the board.
And you said, because I said the public hearing is a legal ad.
Yeah.
To advertise the meeting. And I didn't know if the legal ad needs to include both things, it needs to include bylaws and the SOP, or just the bylaws.
I think it's being more open is always better. So I mean, if we can just post them both, and we'll post them. The SOPs just as written, and I'll make a couple of changes there. Get rid of the red lines and things of that nature from the bylaws.
And then will the council look at the,
I would ask the council that to to take a look at the SOPs if we can. Because, you know, they've made ordinances, it sounds like that kind of go towards some of these things, so they should probably have some input on things that are, even though it's more restrictive, but they should maybe have input on it.
When's their next meeting?
Monday.
So if we can get a copy over to them, and I know Mr. Huddleston Mr. Huddleston provided the SOPs to me, after working with the chief, I guess, on those. So I don't know if he's reviewed them or not, but it'd probably be important for Mr. Huddleston to review those, since he's,
certainly been to make changes.
okay.
Plus, for me to look at them.
Yeah.
And see if I agree with the changes, and then, go ahead and make those changes.
Okay. Very good.
Anything else? Anybody from the public? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.